So, trans people are still complaining about how others discriminate against them, or how people don't respect them or anything like that. But I don't know. They are so entitled and self-centered. They really think they're the only ones who are suffering this kind of discrimination. You're not, you know. Black people get discriminated against all the time. White people get discriminated against all the time. Mexican people, women get discriminated all the time. And honestly, women have had it worse than anyone. Really? Men. I'm just saying. The LGBTQ does not deserve this much support. You know? And I'm not saying that to be mean. I'm not saying that to even try to undermine them. I'm saying that we've given them all of our attention for the last 8 years. And where has that gotten us? It hasn't gotten us anywhere. We took care of them. We fed into that. We were like, hey, yeah, LGBT, you guys deserve respect too. And they still didn't shut the fuck up about it. And they're still just out here complaining. And now it's to the point where they're teaching little children about sex toys and what the fuck? That is not, if that's what you guys are supporting, then you guys don't need any more of our support. And the thing is, nobody even hates them anymore. Nobody, honestly, from the beginning, nobody really hated them. So, why are we still even talking about these people? Like, I'm just saying. And I really feel like it goes a lot deeper than just them hating themselves. Because I really feel I feel like they don't hate themselves, but it was what's the context behind that conscious decision, you know? What's the fundamental meaning behind their decision to switch from a man to a female or from a female to a male? Like, why should we listen to people who don't even like how they were naturally born? Why are we still listening to people who could not accept that men and women are born this way? Like, who the fuck are you? They really don't realize how much confusion that they convey and the shit that they advocate and the shit that they're pushing on to children as if children know what the fuck is going on. And honestly, if they are going to be demanding respect, they need to be teaching this kind of shit to fucking 14-year-olds and just teach them the awareness about transsexuals and shit. Not kids any younger than that. And I mean that. You should only be able to just teach them, not to enforce any kind of ideology onto them, because people are free to not like each other. And they don't get that. They really fucking don't. They are literally pushing it to the point where every individual, every child has to fucking love them. Every dog, every fucking cat, literally everything has to be perfect for them. And I'm just tired of it. I go to work all the time and people talk about how their home countries are war torn. They talk about how Ukraine is still getting bombed and are draining the US's economy. And all we're going to do is put Ukraine in debt after this. So there's also that. There are places like Burma where the military is literally corrupted and just kill whoever doesn't listen to them. And we can't appreciate our place because transsexuals don't know how to shut the fuck up. And it's not entirely their fault, but it's definitely their fault for the division behind a lot of this. Because men can't even be men anymore. We cannot verbally express ourselves or our feelings because it's not going to come out nice. It just isn't. Our only solution is to just be quiet, and this is why men are suffering, you know? We suffer in silence too. And who fucking comes to us? Nobody. Nobody would ever help out another dude. That's kind of how it is. Like, you better fucking handle that shit, man. You better fucking quick put your tears away. That's not gonna solve your problems. Like, that's just our philosophy on that shit. It's like you just have to keep it pushing. And it's crazy because we all share so much of the same turmoil, but we'd rather get coiled in our own thoughts. We would rather drown ourselves out in our own emotions and do something rash before we actually listen to each other. You know? Like, whatever happened to fucking practical reasoning? Like, and I genuinely don't feel like the LGBTQ did any of that. Like, they didn't use any practical reasoning. They just did everything based off of slander and canceling people. That's not how you solve problems. That's definitely not worth respect, in my opinion. Respect is better earned, not demanded. And I really feel like it was just their method in which they went about in trying to gain and garner respect. When in reality, they're not the ones who are truly suffering. It's not trans people that are truly suffering. Yes, people don't like you, but nobody likes everybody. Like, that's just how it's always been, and that's probably just how it's always gonna be. And they really can't get that through their thick skulls. And on top of that, there's a lot of downsides to transitioning. Like, there's a lot. And I mean, I really feel like from a logical standpoint, it was just like, well, what was wrong with you from the beginning? Like, what was the fundamental, like, problem? Like, that's a real issue. Like, if that's not, what the fuck is it called? It's not dissociative identity disorder or some shit. It's not DID, but it's when they struggle with their own identity. And if that's not struggling with your own identity as a transsexual, I don't know what is. Because, I mean, you literally couldn't accept yourself for the nature of things. Like, you could not understand, like, you could not fucking agree with the nature that you were born as. Why should anyone listen to you? And on top of that, it's not like you're really fighting for women's suffrage. It's not like you're really fighting for black people's suffrage, because there's a hell of a lot more black people and women than there are transsexuals. Let's be real. Like, they don't make up this whole fucking country. They just make up the media. And honestly, I'm taking a guess on this. There's probably like, maybe 10,000 transsexuals out there, like, right now, versus like the 4 million black people, and then half of the fucking world are just women. I'm just saying, dude, like, this shit, this new order is not working. It's not gonna go out the way you think. Like, they're not solving any problems. And they haven't been for the last 7 years. So, like, seriously, we need to come together and really look at things from, like, a real general point of view. Because, like, again, trans people aren't the only ones who are being discriminated against. They're not the only ones that people are just shitting on and hating. We just don't like you because of your agenda. Your gay parades where there are naked men on motorcycles, no child should have to see that. I'm just saying, like, they didn't solve anything. They didn't solve anything. And I genuinely feel like we all need to, like, as people that have all been discriminated against somebody else, we all need to come together and form more of, like, a council culture where we counsel the votes that get put in through, like, Congress and the Senate and just the whole fucking presidential branch, whatever the fuck it was, that whole tree. I feel like there should be a council culture where people from all around get to, or not from all around, but from, like, all around the US get to have, like, exclusive votes on what gets to happen in the years to come. And now that we have technology and phones, we could all, like, universally vote on this shit. and then eventually there's gonna have to be like some global unification. Like, we all speak our own languages, but we all need to share our ideas and our knowledge and our technology with one another so that we could explore the universe. Like, I thought that was our whole goal as like the human species, because we're smart enough to get off the ground. We can fly. You know, like that's just what I thought. You know, we used to be going to the moon. Now they're making fucking hotels, but in space, and people still can't afford to live. And I mean, and isn't that just baffling? Like, why even is there a cost to living? That shit should be free. Water and food should be cheap. Housing should be cheap. It's the rest of these accessories that need to be expensive, like cars, like clothes, you know? Like, it's just those types of accessories that should be cheap, you know? Because they're only like temporary things. But housing and food and water, I mean, you're going to need that until you die, until you can't live anymore. So I just wanted to come on here and rant because I've been watching way too much Candace Owens and she's been getting shit on. I heard these fucking trans people sit there and be like, do you know how many of us are victimized by your presence? And I was like, that's the word she decided to go with? Victimized? She was victimized at somebody else's presence? Dude, I'm black and I live in America. Welcome to the fucking party.